Hi, this is Future Austin. At the very end of the video that you're about to watch, I mentioned that the Saskatchewan Roughriders are playing the BC Lions. No, they're playing the Montreal Alouettes. Don't ask why my brain did that. I just wanted to make sure that I'm correcting that before this video goes live. It is the Montreal Alouettes versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Let me know who you got in the comment section below. Enjoy the day after discussion. See you soon. Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here, and welcome to today's day after discussion of the Oilers' 4-3 overtime victory against the Carolina Hurricanes last night. It was a game that wasn't exactly pretty for the Oilers, but none of their wins have been pretty this season. In fact, every single game this season seems to be not pretty, but they got the job done, and on the most important road trip of the year, I am not going to care how they're getting the job done, because now they have Zach Hyman in the lineup, which is great. That's going to give them a lot of flexibility with how they want to place guys throughout the lineup, up and down. And also, the fact that this team is finding a way to get some points right now does give me hope that once they do turn it around at 5-on-5, that they are going to be okay. They're going to be able to, comfortably make the playoffs, and we're all going to be laughing in May or June. Hopefully we get into June, but there's a lot of hockey to be played until then. There's also the Olympic break in February, but that's something that we'll talk about way later. In today's day after, I do want to highlight a few standouts, 3 standouts, 3 not so standouts. I also do want to talk about a couple players on an individual level, kind of, evaluate what's going on with their season. Trent Frederick is one of them. Brett Kulak is one of them. Andrew Mangiapane is one of those players as well. So if you end up enjoying today's video, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed. Daily Oilers content here on the Austin Hockey YouTube channel. And let's just jump right into it, folks. Let's go to our day after discussion against the Carolina Hurricanes. Last night, the Oilers at 5-on-5. Expected goals for percentage, 53.94% on Natural Stat Trick, or according to Natural Stat Trick. High danger Corsi 4, 44.44%. Corsi 4, 44.04%. Power play, they were 1 for 1. Penalty kill, they were 2 for 2. The Edmonton Oilers special teams has been very special this season. Their power play is top 3 in the league, possibly even number 1 right now. I'd have to double check. Their penalty kill has also been very good, and it was a big reason why the Oilers were able to win the hockey game last night. Now, when we look at our standout, Zach Hyman, he was obviously the biggest standout for the Edmonton Oilers. He played 23 minutes in his return, his first game since Game 4 of the Western Conference Final against the Dallas Stars. 56.49 expected goals for percentage. He had 1 assist and 11 hits. 11 hits for Zach Hyman. The Edmonton Oilers are a team that desperately needs some of that sandpaper in this lineup. They desperately need that energy, that physicality. Now, I do think physicality can be overrated. However, depending on the player, what types of players are able to throw hits, and are you throwing hits because you don't have the puck, or are you throwing hits because you're hard on the forecheck? Zach Hyman is one of those players that is throwing hits hard on the forecheck, causes turnovers, he bangs bodies, and then as the game wears on, defensemen on the other team, they start to get worried. They start to panic with the puck. They start to give the puck away, make mistakes, and that's how Zach Hyman has been very effective since, he joined the Oilers, basically. Although this is the most physical we've seen Hyman in an Oiler uniform. He started being incredibly physical in the playoffs last year. Zach Hyman was instrumental in the Oilers getting the win. He had a great assist on the Oilers' 3-2 goal, where the puck came up the right boards. He dropped it back to Draisaitl, Leon across to Connor McDavid. They loaded those 3 up, and listen, if you're going to load up the 2 big dogs in Leon and Connor, having Zach Hyman there is a lot better, in my opinion, than having someone like Mangiapane beside them. So Zach Hyman, great first game back. Let's see how he builds on that. Let's see how many games he can go playing at this level. I do expect some ups and downs from Zach Hyman just because this is the first games of the year that he's playing. So I do expect a little bit of rust, but last night, Zach Hyman, I didn't see any rust from him. And the fact that they trusted him with 23 minutes of time on ice, well, if he wasn't in the greatest shape ever until last night, now he is. He definitely had that heart rate going, and he was an energizer bunny for the Oilers. He gave them that extra juice. He gave them the extra juice that the team needed. It was a great performance from Zach Hyman. And on the next note for standouts, Connor McDavid, he had a 57.84 expected goals for percentage at 5-on-5, 2 goals, 1 assist, a +2 rating. And Connor McDavid, when he was out there, he was generating chances. And Connor McDavid, just in general, has been producing a lot lately. He has really turned his season around ever since that 1 goal in the first 10 games or whatever it was. Connor McDavid has been playing good for the Edmonton Oilers. In fact, he's been playing great. He is holding up his end of the bargain when it comes to producing for for this team. The top six in general is actually producing fairly okay for the Oilers. It's that bottom six that is absolutely abysmal right now that we are going to talk about. Connor McDavid, a great game from him. Number one star in my opinion. He was the catalyst for the Oilers offense, and I love, whatever word you want to use, love that he scored 2 goals last night. Both goals, very, very nice. His first goal was an absolute snipe on the power play. It was a missed shot by Rozovic that bounced off the backboards back to Connor McDavid, bottom of the left circle, and he goes over the shoulder of Freddie Anderson. Great game from Connor McDavid. How much time on ice did McDavid play? 24-31. Still don't like that. I would like to see the ice time cut back just a little bit, but again, I don't blame Knoblauch in this situation because when the bottom six is as abysmal as they've been, you tend to play your top guys a little bit more. I wouldn't trust the bottom six either. I wouldn't trust guys like Trent Frederick or Curtis Lazar or Noah Philp right now. Adam Henrique and Matthias Janmark, like that's an abysmal bottom six right now, which we are going to talk about. The other standout for the Oilers, Stuart Skinner, Big Stu, had a great game last night for Edmonton. A plus 0.26 goals saved above expected, a .917 save percentage. All we asked for from Stu, at least all I asked for, every single game, give us a 900 save percentage, and this team has a chance to win. Well, now the Edmonton Oilers, with that .917 save percentage from Stu last night, they are 6-0 this season when their goalies give them a 900 save percentage or better. Yes, they are undefeated when they get 900 or better. Not even 905, no, 900 on the dot or better. Stuart Skinner, great game from him. Carolina pressed. They had a lot of chances. They had a lot of puck possession in the first 2 periods, but Stuart Skinner was there. I would say he only made one mistake, and that was on Carolina's second goal where Stu, he's facing the other way and he's spinning around in his crease, and sometimes that happens with your goalie, but Stuart Skinner, overall, a great game from him. I am very hard on Stu. I do think the Oilers still need an upgrade in the crease because I think Calvin Pickard is unplayable, and knowing that there's a back-to-back coming up this week, I don't like that Pickard is going to get one of those starts, likely, right? I don't like that. The team still needs goaltending help, goaltending depth for sure. Stuart Skinner, though, at least for now, has comforted me just a little bit, right? It's not a lot. The team still definitely needs help in the crease, but I am happy with his performance last night. Now the not-so-standouts, and I don't mean to be too negative here, but Trent Frederick, of course, I think is going to be the one everyone's pointing at, and for good reason. Last night, Trent Frederick, a 10.88 expected goals for percentage, 0 points, 0 shots, 0 hits, and a -1. And Trent Frederick, there's a big problem with Trent Frederick right now. We're just going to go to his stat page here. He has 1 goal on the season in 20 games played, 0 assists. He's a -8 on the year. Trent Frederick, if he is still dealing with his injury from last year that he had, the high ankle sprain, why is he playing? If he's completely healthy and not injured, why is he not producing? And if he's not producing, why is he in the lineup for Chris Knoblauch? Why do they keep trusting him? Now, Trent Frederick had the opportunity of a lifetime in training camp and for the first few games of the season where he got to play shotgun next to Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. That was what Coach Knoblauch was foreseeing for this player after signing that big 8-year contract. That 8-year contract, about $3.85 million per season or whatever it is. It's just shy of $4 million per season. And Trent Frederick did nothing with that opportunity. And that is shocking to me. And what's even more shocking is the just the lack of anything from Frederick. This is a player that in Boston was a grinder. He would hit players. He fought. He could chip in on offense. He was good defensively. We are not seeing that on the Edmonton Oilers. And that dates back to last season too in the playoffs where, again, he was dealing with a high ankle sprain. So I was cutting him some slack. And then he signs the 8-year contract extension. Stan Bowman, what the hell are we thinking on that one? Way to give him a contract before he proved himself with the team. Way to give him long-term before he proved himself with the team. And now we have a player that is already in the conversation as a buyout candidate for next summer. Like, could you imagine if they had to buy out Trent Frederick after 1 year into an 8-year deal because of this type of performance? This is absolutely abysmal from Trent Frederick, and his ice time is reflecting how poor his play has been. Chris Knoblauch is slowly losing more trust in this player, and he is not playing him. He's a -5 in his last 5 games, 0 points. But when we take a look at his time in Boston, he was fine. He had 17 goals in 22-23, a +28 rating. In 23-24, he had 18 goals, 40 points in the 23-24 season. He was averaging 13.45 time on ice per game, 123 shots on goal. Shooting percentage, kind of high, right? But you do expect a little bit of regression back down to at least 10, 11%, which is what his career norm is. But my goodness gracious, this is awful what we're seeing from him. Last year with the Bruins, again, he wasn't 100% healthy. He had 8 goals with Boston, a -14 rating, 44 penalty minutes. This is a player that had the high ankle sprain. They traded him to Edmonton. Played 1 game in the regular season, played whatever many games it was in the playoffs, only ended up with 1 goal or whatever it was. I guess I can sort by playoffs here. He had 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points in the playoffs. At least he was a +1 for Edmonton. He averaged 11.24, but he was incredibly injured for Edmonton last season. But right now, if he is still injured, there's no reason for him to be in the lineup. He is abysmal. And the fact that he is a buyout candidate, and I would be considering him to be a buyout candidate. Look at this, 8-year, $30.8 million contract. In what world does that player deserve that much money based on his career stats here? Now, when they signed Frederick, I was initially happy, and I am going to, honestly, I'm going to 100% say it right now. I wasn't against the contract because I knew that if he played like he did in Boston, a team that I watched him play for many, many years, the Bruins are my second favorite team. If he played at that level, he was worth more than that money. Like, that was a perfectly fine money contract to me, but it was the amount of years that I was like, the amount of years, I don't know about that. And now here we are with Trent Frederick, and it has been just awful. This is potentially one of the worst starts I've ever seen for a player on the Oilers. And the fact that he is still probably going to be in the lineup on a regular basis when guys like Ike Howard are down in the minors, I don't know if I totally agree with that, although at this point, I would prefer Ike Howard to get about 20 minutes a night in Bakersfield. Trent Frederick is terrible, and there's no other option for him. Who are you replacing Trent Frederick with right now? Because they don't have anyone else. Yeah, you can put David Tomashek in there, but Tomashek is not going to produce either. This is the problem with the bottom 6 right now. The other not so standout for Edmonton is Adam Henrique last night. 22% expected goals for percentage. He had 0 points, but my goodness, at least he had 2 hits. Let's go, Adam Henrique. And then the other player that I want to talk about that was a not so standout, Andrew Mangiapane. And Mangiapane this season, oh my God. We gotta talk about Mangiapane here. Jesus, what is going on here? -16 in 20 games played. Now, I am not a big plus-minus guy. I do think plus-minus is a very overrated stat, or at least raw plus-minus, right? Raw data, like what the NHL tracks, I don't really take a lot of stock into it. I don't put a lot of stock into it. But when you are a big outlier compared to the rest of your group, Andrew Mangiapane being a -16 in 20 games played, he has 6 points, he has 4 goals on the year. When he's a career plus player, this is not good. This is actually really, really bad. -3, -3, +1, -4 against Columbus, -1 against the Carolina Hurricanes. Andrew Mangiapane, he's also seen his ice time start to drop too. And when we take a look at his season last year with Washington, 14 goals, 28 points. He was a plus-minus of 0, so he wasn't doing anything super negative. He also played a little bit of penalty kill with Washington last season. This year, Mangiapane's not getting any kind of special teams with the Oilers. This is all 5-on-5 play. He's averaging 15 minutes time on ice per game, but this is abysmal. He's never been this bad before. His time in Calgary, he was always a plus player. He could chip in on offense. I don't expect him to score 35 goals. That's completely unrealistic. But in 20 games played, he only has 19 shots on net. So he's averaging just less than a shot on goal per game. That's horrible. And Mangiapane is supposed to be one of those players that provides a little bit of sandpaper. He's supposed to be one of those players that digs into the corners, gets to the blue paint. We have not seen that from him this season. Maybe in a couple games. I've noticed Mangiapane doing those little things that, lead to success on the ice. But he has been awful. And the Oilers' bottom 6, their entire bottom 6, has been absolutely putrid. And when we take a look at the bottom 6 as it was last night, Mangiapane, Henrique, Frederick, Janmark, Philp, and Lazar. And then David Tomashek is your extra forward. Ike Howard now in the minors. Now that top 6 looks really good. That top 6 is producing. Savoy's starting to produce a little bit. Rozovic is producing amazingly right now. Draisaitl, he's producing a ton. McDavid's producing a ton. Podkolzin not getting it on the score sheet, but he is doing a lot of the good things that drives offense on the ice. And Zach Hyman, now that he's back, we know he is also going to produce. This bottom 6, I don't know, man. It needs something. It needs something. I don't know what it needs. It has enough pieces where there should be enough energy and physicality and grit and offense. And but we're not seeing that right now. And part of that is Chris Knobloch's system. I do blame part of this with Chris Knobloch's system here. It's just nowhere near good enough right now with the bottom six in general. Hopefully, again, it's always hopefully this bottom six can figure it out, but it's not good. This is a terrible bottom six, and they are playing just terrible hockey right now. And the other players that I did want to mention here, there are two more. One of them is Brent Kulak. Again, sorry to just skip around the screens. Brent Kulak this season, he has 2 assists. He's a -7 rating, but it's his last 5 games that has me concerned the most. He's a -5, -6, -7, -8, -9 in his last 5 games. Brent Kulak, I don't know if there's something going on with him. I don't know if he is injured or whatever the case is, but Brent Kulak is really, really struggling right now. He has 0 goals on the year, only 2 points, 23 shots on net, -7 rating. Last year, he was a -7 all year for the Oilers. He did have 7 goals, which was actually pretty good. Is that a career high? Yes, it is a career high. So I don't know what's going on with Brent Kulak, but this is a player where there was talks that he could be a cap casualty during the summer. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was a cap casualty. I do really like his game overall, but right now they are not getting enough from him. They're not getting enough from a lot of their defensemen. But speaking of their defense, one of the defensemen that is starting to turn his season around, which is a very, very good sign, is Evan Bouchard, who's now up to 16 points on the year, right? We were complaining earlier in the year he wasn't producing offense and he was a horrific minus player. Well, now Evan Bouchard, the offense starting to come around. He has 12 points in his last 10 games, I believe. He's a +2 rating in those games. He's starting to figure it out. He's starting to produce. He had 3 assists against Columbus. He was +2 against the Blue Jackets, +2 against the Carolina Hurricanes last night. For Evan Bouchard, I've never been concerned about his offense. I have never been concerned that he's going to, not find that offensive game, that offensive rhythm that we're used to seeing from him. It was the defensive side that we are always concerned about sometimes here in Oil Country. But he has played very, very well over his last 10 games. And I did want to give a shout out to Evan Bouchard, who does take a lot of flack from the fan base. I'm someone that's not nearly as hard on Bouch as a lot of other fans, although I was being pretty hard on him this season. Evan Bouchard, just to end things on a positive note, I'm glad that he's starting to find that offense, that offensive rhythm. He's up to 16 points on the year, which is good. Hopefully he's able to keep that going. The power play is also instrumental in this team's success. Special teams have been good. There's obviously a lot of things that this team needs to work on to be a cup contender, let alone a playoff team. We talk about cup contending, just to be a playoff team. This team at 5-on-5 really, really needs to start turning things around as soon as possible. The top 6, now with Zach Hyman back, that is fantastic. Very, very excited and happy about that. But that bottom 6 is absolutely abysmal. They're slow, they're old, they're not hitting. I don't know what the bottom 6 is. I don't know what the team identity is. That's something that they're going to have to figure out. That's something that Stan Bowman's going to have to figure out. That's something that as a head coach, Chris Knobloch is going to have to figure out how to utilize them and put them in positions to succeed. There's a lot of cardio merchants down there, so let's see how Chris Knobloch handles this the rest of the way. If you enjoyed today's day after discussion, I almost called it a post-game fan reaction. Day after discussion, make sure to hit that like button. If you're watching the Grey Cup tonight, the Grey Cup, Canadian football trophy, if you're not from Canada, that is the Canadian version of what the NFL does for their Super Bowl. It is the Canadian version, Canadian football. Grey Cup tonight, Saskatchewan Roughriders, BC Lions. Who do you have? Let me know in the comment section below. And We'll leave it at that, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Tell someone you love them. And as always, fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers. We'll see you tomorrow for the pregame report before the game against the Buffalo Sabres. Take care.